Indeed, we do roll on the Three Dog Thursday podcast, and it is the YouTube Roundtable. And I am pleased to bring in here a couple of distinguished gentlemen, one of them from Augusta National. And I've got the hat on YouTube, ready for a tradition unlike any other with the Masters. Hello, Bob Harig, longtime ESPN.com writer, ESPN TV personality. He is there on location. It is the second time in 5 months we get to talk to you about the Masters, a November Masters and April traditional Masters. Bob, good to have you. How are you?
Yeah, TJ, thanks for having me. Doing well. It's nice to be back here again so soon. Nice to be back here knowing we're a little bit closer to normal, and we will see a little bit more normal this time as opposed to November.
So much to cover on that. My man Sean Green is hanging out as well from the Sports Gambling Podcast, their network of shows. They do a great job helping us out. He is big on the Masters. He and Ryan Kramer, as we speak, in advance of the first round, have a big Masters preview out on Sports Gambling Podcast and the website. Mr. Green, you're the color of the Masters in the green jacket. I don't think I have to ask whether you're ready to go for this weekend.
Oh, I can't wait. It's so exciting. We got the new studio. The Masters are happening. We just cranked out like over an hour and a half of golf talk. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was great that we got a 2020 Masters, but yeah, doing it in November, it felt a little odd, felt a little different, but now I think as normal as you can get, and so excited for the golf this weekend.
I promise that we will get to the Masters in just a moment, but I can't let Sean get out of here. Bob might have a comment too. Without putting a wrap on the college basketball season, you guys were talking nonstop, and we're showing it to the YouTube audience about the Final Four. Baylor knocks off Gonzaga. Sean Green, give me more. First ever national championship win for Baylor. Gonzaga denied an unbeaten season. Bob is an Indiana guy, so he is smiling with pride that the Hoosiers remain the last team to be undefeated in a college basketball season, 1976. But Sean, what about this real quick?
Well, yeah, going into the championship game all over Baylor, catching the points, like them a little bit on the money line as well. I thought it was just going to be so tough for Gonzaga to get up for that game. You had Suggs jumping on the scoring table, yelling at the cardboard fans, which was kind of a funny shot there. So pumped. And that was a crazy epic overtime game. And it felt like that was almost their Super Bowl, getting to the national championship. And then you throw all the pressure of the undefeated season. And now Baylor kind of just dominated their whole way to the final. It seemed like a great opportunity to get on Baylor. Glad I did. And yeah, Gonzaga had a great season, but just that quick turnaround for such an emotionally draining game that went into overtime. It's just tough to get up for the championship.
And Baylor rolled again and got a historic win. Do I see a red blazer, a red pullover on Bob Harig? Is that an Indiana pullover? I don't know if he's going to reveal that. You're still smiling with pride. Bob Knight, Quinn Buckner, Scott May, the 76 Hoosiers remain the last perfect team, Bob Harig.
It is like kind of a nice reminder of how good they were. But I'm probably in the very, very small minority on this. I was sort of hoping that Gonzaga would do it so that they could move on from that. I think IU people are stuck in some of those times too much. It's a different time. The tournament didn't have 64 teams back then. You didn't have to win 6 games. There were more powerhouses. That things are spread out more now. There's more parity as we're seeing. And I think people need to move on from it. I know it's still a great, people weren't ever going to forget about them, so I there was a part of me that was sort of like, okay, let's move on from that, and let them get this undefeated season and a national championship, which is an incredible accomplishment in this time, to be able to do that. And obviously, as you guys have been saying, they came up 1 game short, somewhat surprisingly to me. I thought when they won the game the way they did on Saturday, that was going to mean they were going to pull it out on Monday night.
And my hand is up. Sean loves this about me because I come clean. I had Gonzaga. I thought they'd win. I thought they'd even cover. Didn't happen. Baylor had other ideas. What a story for Scott Drew and company. All right, so the story that we have Bob here for, let's take a look again for the YouTube audience that's seeing us. There it is, including Bob's story. Tradition unlike any other, and unlike any other Masters that we're back 5 months later with Dustin Johnson as the defending champ. He will go off, as we see in this story, Thursday morning, depending on when you're hearing us. Jordan Spieth, coming off the win in San Antonio, will go off Thursday afternoon. I guess the first logical question, Bob, here, Dustin Johnson's chances to repeat 5 months later. He's one of the top favorites. You've seen him now a little bit for the first 2 or 3 days in and around here. What do you think about his chances to get a second green jacket inside of 6 months?
I think they're excellent. I mean, he hasn't had the great results of late. Last couple of tournaments have been off of his standard a little bit, but I'm not sure that means anything. The golf courses are completely different. He has an ability to turn things around. He's shown an ability to turn things around. And, you know, until somebody knocks him off, I mean, when it's a year different, you say what you did then doesn't really matter that much. But there really haven't been that many tournaments since the Masters. You know, it's been a quick turnaround. He's won since. He won in Saudi Arabia. He's had some other decent results. So until they knock him off, you know, I still think he's got a great opportunity to do it again. And but he has a lot of competition too. It's pretty wide open. There are a lot of guys we could talk about winning this week.
No doubt. Voice of Bob Harig. Find him at Bob Harig on Twitter, ESPN.com. Love his insight. Sean Green, also with me from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Love his insight. All right, same question, Sean Green. Dustin Johnson's chances to repeat. How good are they? What do you think as we get ready for the Masters to get underway on Thursday?
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly it would be tough to argue against him. I think the courses, they're going to do whatever it takes to toughen the course up. I don't think they want someone winning the Masters at minus 20 again. I think they're going to make it a little tougher, which I don't know if that necessarily favors Dustin Johnson's game the most. And I just think the idea of winning the Masters twice, again, this is an unprecedented year, in such a short span is a little difficult. So I'm looking at some of the other guys. I really like Justin Thomas and Colin Morikawa. Those are kind of two of the guys in the favorited area that I like the most. I mean, Colin Morikawa, I'm still riding high. I had him to win the PGA Championship. And if you look at the Masters winners, the last 12, 11 of them also won a tournament in that same, you know, calendar year. So I think there is something to Dustin Johnson coming in and having that big win. But I think, you know, having him repeat at that price, not worth it for me.
Interesting on that. Colin Morikawa, also interesting because he has already won a major championship last year. But familiarity with this course, Bob, you preach that all the time. And a lot of people that have covered this game for a long time preach that it's very difficult, unless your name is Tiger Woods, to show up in the first or second or even the third time win this. You got to get familiar. You got to play a bunch of rounds, know where to miss, know the greens. What kind of chance do you give Morikawa, even though he's been very hot as a second-year player here?
Right. You know, and the other thing is his one experience with it was in November. And, you know, it's just not going to play like it did in November. So you almost have to throw it out. I mean, obviously you see the routing and the greens and everything, but what he learned then isn't going to help him now. You know, where to hit the ball on the greens is not going to be a factor this time like it was in November. If he hits it in some of the places he did in November, it's possible that he goes over by 15 yards because it's going to be firm and it just plays different. So that experience, I'm not sure how much it helped him. And as you said, you know, it usually takes a couple of tries. There's a reason that nobody's won in their first attempt since Fuzzy Zeller in '79. Spieth almost did in 2014. And then he won in 15. So he's the rare guy to win it on the second attempt. But usually it takes a few. Tiger won it in his third, but his first as a pro. And he had only played 6 rounds competitively. But, you know, those are the outliers. Usually takes a little while. You got to get over the nerves of being here. Then you've got to get over the nuance of the course and where to miss, as you said. And listen, Morikawa has got the ability. He's a great iron player, which I think is why he will be thought of as a contender. Second shot golf course, that's really important.
Love that. All right, just a couple of minutes left. I got to do this again with Bob Harig. We did it before when you were previewing in November. I got to see a shot of the press room at Augusta National and out the front window just to get us warmed up for this weekend. What do you got now?
Yeah,
he's going to pan the camera again. This is only for the YouTube audience, but Bob, take it away.
way better than looking at me, that's for sure. So we're at the back of the driving range here. Okay, so if you can, I don't know if you can see this or
You can
not.
see it. Lower it just a little, and there it
Lower it.
is.
Okay, so
There you
there's the
go.
window. There you see a guy standing up there at the front. I mean,
Yep.
these are all my colleagues down here in front of me. We're
Yep.
all spaced out in here. Not as many people as normal. And that's the
Beautiful.
driving range. And at the very back there, where the players are hitting to, and there's golf courses that don't look as good as that driving range.
Yeah.
It's an amazing driving range, and it's only used. They use it for the tournament, and then 2 other times the members use it during the year for their big season opening event and for their club closing event in the spring. The other times they don't even hit off this range; they hit off
Unbelievable.
the other range.
Wow.
So
They got a
it's-
backup driving range.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the backup driving range is what used to be the range, and then they built this one. It's been about 10 years now. This used to all be parking lots right there, and they built that and spend a lot of money, and it's unreal. Yeah, and then like if as you were looking out at that, out to the right would be the golf course. It's over that way, and it's a nice walk in for the spectators to walk past this and then get out there, and it's a cool place.
All right, a couple more fun things. Has Bryson DeChambeau rattled any of those windows that we saw with his 350-yard drives, or do they have the nets up, or what are they doing there as he's trying to blast away, Bob? You haven't been pelted, have you?
There's no nets. I don't think he can get it this far. We've wondered if he might be able to bounce one up here. But yeah, there's some balls that are within 30 yards of here, and I don't know what it is. It's probably, I'd say it's probably 380 to get to here. So it's a good they thought about that at least when they built it.
We saw those images of him swinging like Reggie Jackson on the driving range with VJ Singh standing next to him, and it's just something else. A quick opinion from both of you: Can Bryson overpower Sean Green? Can Bryson overpower things here and get it done at Augusta, or he hit it in the woods a lot. He hit it in the azalea bushes a lot back in November. Is the course going to bite back and get him again? Sean, what do you think? Real quick.
Well, yeah, I think they've even made the course, or it's going to play a little tougher than it did in November. So I think that's going to, Bryson certainly has the distance, but I don't see him. I would take his rival Koepka over Bryson, even with the knee injury. I think maybe he's playing a little possum, and he could have a gritty performance. So I like Brooks over Bryson here at the Masters.
All right, we'll see what Bob, an opinion. Bryson DeChambeau, he's won a U.S. Open.
Well, certainly, I think he can win here. Bryson could. I mean, yes, you're right. In November, he was off, and he showed you got to hit it. It's got to be more than hitting your driver a long way. There's other parts of the game that he didn't perform very well at. I'm less bullish on Brooks. I've watched him a little bit. His knee is bothering him. I don't think he'll have any problem hitting the shots. It's the walking. You're talking about a tough golf course to walk. A lot of side hill lies, downhill, uphill. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously he's toughed it out before, and I think he really, really wants to do that. And if he can withstand the pain and get around, certainly, because he's playing well this year. And I really think that's the reason he's trying to go. He knows how well he's been playing. He doesn't want to waste it. So, but it was only 3 weeks ago that he had surgery on that right knee. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that he's even out here.
No doubt. And again, for the audience, Bob knows this so well. If you've ever been, and I've had the privilege of being there practice rounds, you cannot convey how much the elevation changes, the walking up, the walking down, 75 yards up, 75, 100 yards down. It may have effect on guys, especially if it's hot. I got so much more that I could ask you about, but Bob has got to run here. Sean, I appreciate you being here as well. Let me preview again and plug away for my guys. You find Bob Harig on social media right here. See him at Bob Harig right there from ESPN. There he is with Phil Mickelson. Will these greens be firmer, et cetera, et cetera. So I love Bob's insight with the guys to watch right there, including Dustin Johnson and former winners and other major champions. There he is, Bob Harig of ESPN. And I know they've been writing a lot in the preview mode here of the Masters. So I love Bob. And then here's my sports gambling podcast, guys. They were even Bob dressed in red and black on their preview podcast of the Masters. I know the audience is hearing us and seeing us after the Masters is underway. These guys did a 90-minute preview, Sean and Ryan, in red and black in honor of Tiger Woods. So go find them at Gambling Podcast on social media, Sports Gambling Podcast, I think we have covered it all pretty well. Bob Harig of ESPN, thank you. I know you're busy. I appreciate you giving me time from Augusta. Always love the insight. Let's see what happens at the Masters, sir.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. We'll see you later.
Sean Green, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you hopping on as well from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Nice work, gentlemen.
As always, TJ, let it ride, man.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
All good stuff. Three Dog Thursday continues. Stay with us.